The No Fate channel, checking in. On this episode of Dad's Gadgets, I am reviewing the Feiyu Tech VIMBLE 2A Gimbal. Yes, that's right, the VIMBLE Gimbal. I know I'm pronouncing the company name wrong, but I tend to always pronounce company names wrong. If this is your first time to the channel, do me a favor, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. On this series, I simply review a piece of tech or equipment or something that has come across my life that I've found beneficial or not beneficial. And I do a full review to help you decide if that is right for your goals, for what you're working on, for your hard-earned money, if it is something that might help you in your everyday life. So obviously today we've got an action camera gimbal, and we're gonna go over it soup to nuts, top to bottom, pros and cons, ins and outs. So first and foremost, what comes in this nice little box? You get your carrying case, which is very similar to most gimbal carrying cases. You get the gimbal that you see right here in front of you. You get a charging cord. You get a little, I don't know, you get a little like clip on to put around your wrist so you don't drop it, but obviously you're probably not going to use that. And you also get a tripod to connect to the bottom of this gimbal. But again, something you're probably not going to be using, because if you have a gimbal, you're probably not going to actually be putting it down and holding it in one place steady. So let's just quickly talk about how this gimbal works and which cameras this gimbal is good for. This VIMBLE 2A is specifically made for the GoPro, and more specifically made for the GoPro 4, 5, 6, and 7, which is the one that I am using. Keep in mind, if you have the new gimbal, if you have the new GoPro Hero 8, it won't fit. The GoPro Hero 8 is actually slightly bigger than the 7, and I would not try to test whether it's going to work or not. Before I go over the pros and cons, let's just talk about who needs a gimbal for their action camera. And the truth is, it's really a select few people. If you are looking for that buttery smooth B-roll footage, if you're looking for those action shots where you're running, you're running super fast, you're on a trail, you're biking, you're climbing, you're going like a mile a minute, but you still want to have that footage look nice and crisp and smooth and not jittery or whatnot, then you want a gimbal, because that is going to go above and beyond what the stabilizing software in your GoPro can already do. Oftentimes, I find personally that the footage from my GoPro, just holding it, as long as I'm not, shaking it like crazy, or if I have it mounted to my body, tends to be pretty good, all things considered. And again, I'm using the GoPro Hero 7 Black. But people love these GoPro gimbals, and the reason is, if they're a fan of vlogging, it makes it really simple to just kind of hold the camera, and you're going to get a relatively smooth vlog out of it, a lot smoother than if you just held a selfie stick. How much is the differential between the gimbal and a selfie stick? And it all depends on how shaky your hand is, how quick you're moving, and just the type of videography that you're doing, how fast you're moving. If you tend to go up and down, if you tend to talk quick or slow, if you tend to move into the camera, out of the camera, and a lot of it depends on your own mannerisms and usage. I will say that a lot of the people that I know who do vlog and they use GoPros don't use gimbals. They just don't see the need, because the GoPros do tend to have some fairly good stabilizing footage with regards to the software, and that's before any type of post-production work. I'm going to talk about a few of the features as I talk about pros and cons with regards to the VIMBLE 2A. As far as just turning this on and using it, the installation of the GoPro is simple. It's simple. Put it in and click and you are ready to go. It is a one button on and a one button off feature. As far as the weight of this gimbal, if you do plan to do vlogging, which means you might be holding this thing for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, it's super light. So you could certainly be holding this thing all day and not even realize you were holding it. So that is one of the benefits. One of the side effects or downsides, some people will associate light electronics with poor quality, and I really can't speak to that, but I will say it is light if you do plan to do vlogging. As far as the battery life goes, I haven't done enough testing to know if this is going to give you a very long battery life. I will say it lasted to me over 2 hours at a pop before I bothered to plug it back in, and the charging is quite easy with regards to just plugging it into a micro USB connector that we all have like a million of sitting around. As far as, there's a side button here to turn this from landscape mode to portrait mode, and I will say for some reason it does not seem to work for me. I'm sure I'm doing something wrong on my end. I'm not trying to say that this is I'm not saying it's the fault of the product, but I will say for some reason when I try to get it to actually go from landscape to portrait, I get some weird inverted thing going on. So that is obviously a huge negative. Another negative on this with regards to my use, I used this on a day that it was like 70 degrees and I used this for about 25 minutes and this thing got warm, and I mean warm to the touch, which I don't see as necessarily as a good sign, and I don't know if that's just the battery going through the battery very quickly, or if that's actually the mechanisms, the gyros in here really being overworked and overtaxed. One of the nice things about this is that it has a little bit of a kind of a selfie stick mode in terms of if you really want to get that that feel that you're far away, and if you really do a good job with the GoPro in terms of angling it, you can actually look like you're not even holding it. It can look, you know, because it almost eliminates your arm and you just get your head. So that's a nice feature that that you can see is incorporated. Is it a huge length? No, but it is enough with regards to the GoPro to give you a lot better footage, a lot better angles. And if you're going to be taking like a low shot, as an example, if you're going to be filming like skateboarding and you want to be running alongside the person skateboarding and you want to, you know, kind of, you know, hang it down like this, that's one of the benefits of that, as you can see. And I'll show you footage at the end of this video. I had my daughter and we were kind of walking around a parking lot, and I was able to use this extension arm for both vlogging and for kind of skateboarding type of, like, you know, getting shots of her. And she's only 2 years old, so she's quite short. So getting shots of her without having to bend over, super fun. Waiting to pick up my son from Nana and Papa, and we got the wind here. Apologize for the wind noise, but we're doing a little bit of vlogging just to kind of give you an idea of how this will be vlogging. My daughter is trying to run into the highway, so we're going to steer her clear of the highway, but hopefully this gives you an idea as I move this up and down in terms of how the gimbal actually is working with the GoPro Hero 7 Black. So pretty easy to use in terms of getting used to it, in terms of figuring out the controls. I'm like 3 days in, and I'm sure after a week it'll be even easier. So in terms of actually like knowing the controls, knowing how to really handle it, to make sure that we're getting the most bang for the buck in terms of quality and in terms of getting that smooth, buttery footage that people love. All right, so this is with the pole extension. The pole extension is with your hand only. It's not automated, it is only with your hand. So you would pull it out with your hand and then pull it back in with your hand. Now let's talk about the interface with regards to the software. They do have software that will connect to your smartphone. And I'm going to tell you this, I've got a few gimbals and I almost never connect them to my smartphone. It's a pain, and oftentimes, you know, unless you're really shooting for very specific, very like technical type B-roll footage, you're not going to be connecting it to your smartphone. And the reality is, if you are going to be looking for that super technical, super specific, super high-end footage with regards to trying to line everything up absolutely perfectly, you're probably not looking for a budget gimbal, which this is. How much does it cost, right? That's a great segue for cost. If you go onto Amazon.com, this ranges, like many electronics on Amazon, it ranges anywhere from $60 all the way up to $90. When I purchased this, I picked it up for $80. And I will tell you right now, it is probably overpriced at $80. I like it. I like this product under $60. If you get it for $60 or under, you're probably getting a fair price, assuming that it meets your needs, assuming that you have one of those GoPros, the 4, 5, 6, or the 7, and assuming that you really want to get super stable footage while you are either vlogging or you're doing some action shots, or you're looking to really improve the B-roll of your current videos. That's it, okay? I would say at $80, it is overpriced, and at $90, it is an absolute ripoff. Why do I say that, okay? So I'm not just kind of throwing out fake numbers here. The reality is there's a ton of gimbals out there now. There are a lot of action camera gimbals, but there's a number of gimbals that are, you know, everything from upwards of like $700 for your DSL cameras, those huge hefty cameras that are just really top of the line. But they have a number of gimbals for your smartphones as well. And I know from personal experience that those smartphone gimbals, not only do they work very well, but they also are able to be converted rather easily to hold your GoPros of all shapes and sizes. A lot of those smartphone cameras are designed to hold not just GoPro 4, 5, 6, and 7, but any type of action camera, anything that will fit inside them, they'll work. And I've used them very well and I've used them to high-end satisfaction. And the one that I'm thinking of specifically that I own and have used for over 2 years now cost me $100, and that was 2 years ago. So I think you could probably pick it up for $80 now, and that's going to give you some excellent, just excellent versatility with regards to stabilization, battery life, all that good stuff. So I do think that if you can pick this up for under $60, and again, it fits those specific needs that I mentioned, then that is something that you should look into. But if it's over $60, if it's upwards of 80 or more, this isn't right for you. I'd rather see you put that money towards probably a newer camera that has better stabilization, so that you won't even need the gimbal. You could just use a selfie stick, or even just use a selfie stick with a combination tripod and use it as for vlogging. And then when you have a chance to put it stationary, just put it stationary, and you're going to get 100% stabilization, because it's going to be set down as opposed to just in your hand moving around. Overall, I think it's a decent product. It's just a matter of how well you can get a deal on Amazon. And as we know, with Amazon, the prices range so much, whether it's a deal of the day or they get some 20% off coupon. So I'm going to put an Amazon affiliate link in the description of this video. It does help out this channel. It does help me out. But definitely click on the link and see what the price point is at the time that you're watching this video, if it seems like something that might be worthwhile. I'm going to shut this off, and I'm going to take this out so you can see how easily this goes in and comes out. Just simple flip of the wrist, pop that off, slide it out. It is super easy with regards to getting those GoPros in and out quickly. If you've come this far in the video, I want to know in the comments below which camera you have and what you're using it for. I'm always curious what video creators are running with regards to their camera and what they're specifically using. It always amazes me the different types of just videography there is out there. And I honestly learn something new every day. So again, drop it in the comments below. Give this video a like. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. As usual, thanks for watching, and don't save anything for the trip back. I am dedicated to helping you be a great parent to your children and still accomplish your own personal goals. I provide ideas and insights to help you save time, money, and your sanity. 3 things that are in short supply for every parent out there.